Welcome to lecture number 11 of literary criticism. I am Dr. Fawzi Slisley, and today I will be talking to you about the actantial model, A.J. Greimas, the actantial model. This is an important contribution to structuralism in the 1960s and 70s, and it allowed literary criticism to analyze literature in a much more systematic way than ever before. A.J. Greimas, also the actantial model, is also an example of semiotics contribution to literary criticism. We have said in previous lecture that it is difficult to distinguish between structuralism and semiotics, and sometimes they combine both characteristics. And no other example than the actantial model shows the contribution of semiotics. It's a model that analyzes literature, but it's devoid of any philosophical considerations. The actantial model isn't interested in the philosophical or cultural implications of the discoveries that it makes about literature. The actantial model, as you will see in a minute, simply wants to break down the text to understand its deep structure. It's not interested in the philosophical implications or the critical or cultural implications of its discoveries, but it simply wants to break down the signifying structures of the text, as you will see. Whereas with structuralism, structuralism does that. It tries to break down the signifying structures of a text, but also from there goes to a philosophical or critical or cultural analysis of the implications of the work, as we have seen with Roland Barthes. Roland Barthes discusses the notion of the author, tries to deconstruct the notion of the author, but from there he moves into cultural, historical, philosophical implications. With the actantial model, we don't go into that. It's almost like laboratory work. The actantial model is almost as scientific as it gets. It's almost like linguistics work on literature. So let's begin. The origins of the actantial model. Well, it appeared in the 1960s. It was developed by A.J. Greimas, and he developed it on the basis of Vladimir Prop's 31 functions, the morphology of the folktale that we've seen when we studied formalism. So Greimas developed the actantial model from Vladimir Prop's the morphology of the folktale. The actantial model is a tool that can theoretically be used to analyze any real or thematized action, but particularly those depicted in literary text or images. What does this mean? Well, you can apply it on any literary text. Not only that, you can even apply the actantial model on life, on real life. You can apply it on situations in real life, and it works. Whereas Vladimir Prop's model only applied on folk tales, right? And we couldn't apply Vladimir Prop's model even on literature, because literature is too unpredictable. But the actantial model applies on all literature and even on real life. Let's see how that works. In the actantial model, an action may be broken down into 6 components, or the action of the entire text, the entire narrative, novel, play, short story. The action can be broken down into 6 components called actons, les actons. The actantial analysis consists of assigning each element of the action being described one of the actantial classes. So 6 actons. And an acton is not an actor. It shouldn't be confused with the actor or with the character. They're neither actors nor characters. What are they? Basically, there is 6 actons, 6 categories. There is the sender, the object, the receiver, the helper, the subject, and the opponent. 6 of them. And as you will see in the diagram of the slideshow, the sender, there's always subject-object relationship in the middle. Subject, object. And this binary of subject-object always shows us the basic action of the play. Why does the subject want the object? And when I say subject, it doesn't mean the hero of the play or the novel. It might be, if there is a story, for example, about, say, there is a novel about the Egyptian revolution that just happened last year. The subject could be the people, and their object will be freedom, right? So the people is a collective body. It's not an individual, it's not one character, it's a lot of people. The people want freedom, and freedom is the object. So that's what I mean when I say that the acton is not a character and it's not an actor. It's l'acton, right? And the object or the subject are acton. So besides the subjects and objects, there is the sender and the receiver, right? So when we talk about the sender, we want to ask, why does the subject want the object, right? The sender explains why. Why does the subject want the object, right? So it can give us either psychological explanations. Why does the subject want the object? Why does the hero want the princess? Why do the people want freedom? Why? Questions like these. It helps you illustrate psychological, political implications why the subject wants the object, basically. The receiver, when we talk about the receiver, it also explains the end, the aim. The hero wants the princess to get married, or the hero wants the princess to establish a kingdom, or the people want freedom because they want justice, to establish a just society. So the receiver explains to us the end, the purpose of this. And of course there is a helper and there is an opponent. The helper is whatever helps the subject acquire the object. So the helper, it could be characters, it could be individuals, it could be objects, it could be the wind, it could be peace, it could be any category that contributes to helping the subject acquire the object. And the opponent, on the other hand, is anything or anyone that contributes, that tries to oppose us, to prevent the subject from acquiring the object. So this is a rough explanation of how the actantial model works. So let me break it down very briefly. We have the subject. The subject is the hero of the story who undertakes the main action, right? Not necessarily a hero, because in modern literature we tend to have more an anti-hero than a hero. Like, for example, in Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, Marlowe is not a hero, he's more of an anti-hero. He's confused, he doesn't know what to do, he doesn't know how to express himself, he finds difficulties talking, so he's not more much of a hero. But he seeks enlightenment. Marlowe seeks to know. So the object is knowledge, right? And that gives you the reason why he went to the Congo, why he enlisted to work for the company, and why he tried to explore the situation in the Congo, and so on and so forth. So the subject undertakes the action, even if it's just an action to seek like knowledge, for example. The object is what the subject is directed towards and wants to acquire. Whatever the subject wants to acquire, that's the object. The helper helps the subject reach the desired object. The opponent hinders the subject in his progression. The sender initiates the relationship between the subject and the object. The sender are the reasons or the persons or the people that make the subject want the object. That's the sender. And the receiver are the elements for which the object is desired. Meaning, when the subject acquires the object, who benefits? It gives you the receiver. Who benefits from the subject acquiring the object? That gives you the receiver. The acton must not be confused with characters. They are not characters, because an acton can be an abstraction. It can be a city, for example, the city, the people, the nation, eros, God, liberty, peace, the nation, etc. All of these categories can function as an acton, and they are not characters, as you can see. A collective character can be an acton. For example, the soldiers of an army can be an acton, or even a group of several characters, like the chorus. So the acton must not be confused with the characters. Also, a character, one character in a novel or a story, can simultaneously or successively assume different actantial functions, right? The same character can be subject and receiver. The same character can be subject and sender. So the same character can assume at the same time or successively different actantial functions. An acton also can be absent from the stage or the action. So, for example, its presence can be limited to its presence in the discourse of other speakers. So the characters speak about him or her, about this acton, right? Like the characters want peace or they want justice, right? But there is no character, it's completely absent. No one is there to represent this concept. So the acton might be absent completely from the action and present only in the discourse of the other characters. Greimas tells us, an acton is an extrapolation of the syntactic structure of a narrative. That's how Greimas defines it. An acton, it's the extrapolation, digging out. Digging out what? The syntactic structure of a narrative, right? There is a syntactic structure to a narrative. The acton helps us to take it out, extrapolate it. An acton is identified with what assumes a syntactic function in the narrative. Whatever assumes a syntactic function, that can become an acton. And we have only 6, remember. The 6 actons are divided into 3 axes. Greimas divides the 6 actons into 3 axes. The first axis has subject-object, the second axis has helper-opponent, and the third axis has sender-receiver. Let me explain each one of them briefly. The subject-object axis is known as the axis of desire. What does the subject desire? The subject desires the object. The subject wants the object. The relationship established between the subject and the object is called what? Junction. Junction. The subject wants the object. Depending on whether the object is conjoined with the subject, for example, a princess. If a prince wants a princess, they're conjoined, brought together in marriage. Or disjoined. For example, the subject has a dead body he wants to get rid of. So the subject wants the object. What's the object? It's to get rid of a dead body. This is a relationship of disjunction, right? The subject wants to, separate himself, get rid of the dead body. So this is a disjunction. So it can be a relationship of junction, the prince wants the princess, or it can be a relationship of disjunction. But at any rate, the axis of subject-object gives you the axis of desire. What's the main desire in the play? What is the main desire that wants to be achieved in the play or in the narrative or in the story? The helper-opponent axis is called the axis of power. The helper assists in achieving the desired junction between the subject and the object, right? So the subject has a dead body, he wants to get rid of it, right? The sender is anything or anyone that helps him achieve that. Or the subject is a prince who wants to marry the princess. Anything or anyone that helps the prince marry the princess is the helper. The opponent does the opposite. The opponent tries to prevent this from happening. For example, the sender, the helper or the opponent, they can be a sword, a horse, it can be carriage. Carriage helps the subject acquire the object. So it can be carriage, it can be the wise man that helped the prince, it can be the witch, the dragon, the faraway castle, fear even inside. Fear prevents the hero from acquiring the princess, right? So fear can be an acton too. The third one is the axis of transmission. It's the sender-receiver. This is the axis of transmission. The sender is the element requesting the establishment of a junction between subject and object, right? Why does the subject want the object? For example, the king asks the prince to rescue the princess. So the king is the sender here. The king sends the prince to get the princess. The receiver is the element for which the request is being undertaken. Who benefits? When you want to know who the receiver is, just ask yourself, who benefits from the subject acquiring the object? To simplify, let us interpret the receiver or beneficiary receiver as that which benefits from achieving the junction between subject and object. For example, the king or the kingdom, the princess, the prince, etc. The senders are often also can be the receiver. So the sender and the receiver can be the same. And I hope this will allow you, will help you read and more critically literature and drama and novels. And I hope you would try to apply these concepts even on everyday life and try to see various actons at play in actions in real life. And with this we come to the end of this lecture. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa ta'ala wa barakatuh.